Welcome to the heart and soul of Outdoors Radio. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. In our 11th season, we continue to share facts and give advice on the great outdoors, where we never let the lack of facts come between us and a good story. Guys who are dedicated to helping you become a better outdoorsman. Your host, Gary McCoy, who's no stranger to the radio world or the outdoors, with a CMA to his credit for best personality. A well-accomplished outdoorsman who loves the thrill of taking a big buck or putting a bass in the live well. Mike Eccles, born and raised in Louisiana, who's fished and hunted his entire life and continues to chase ducks in the backwaters and pull bass off cypress trees. And the Boss Tournament Trail Director who runs the best team circuit in Louisiana. Steve Graff, raised in the woods and waterways of East Texas, a former Northwestern State two-sport athlete and tournament angler who continues to strive for big bass and winning stringers. And last but not least, Jay Watley, the brains and producer of the show who pushes all the right buttons. A man with unmatched talent who excels in making these guys look good and this show sound great. Now let's jump off the front deck and make the first cast with the boys who know it all, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
Hey, welcome to Hooking Up and Tracking Down, 11:30 The Tiger. It's Gary McCoy, the old mud hen. Mike Eccles is here. He's on the other end of your radio.
He looks like he's working over here.
Yeah. Center stage.
That's because I walked in late and all the stuff I was supposed to have done 10 minutes ago I'm doing now. But I'm getting paid now to do it. I'd have to do it on my own time if I'd been here on time.
Center stage, the Iowa Ranger Pro staffer, he's Steve Graff, and pushing all the buttons in his little Nike T-shirt in there. Oh, he's back to the, what is that, like 3-day stubble?
Yeah, 3-hour stubble, yeah.
3-hour stubble.
Yeah, there you go.
Little Jay Watley is here. Got his little horn rim glasses on. Looks like he's
he looks sophisticated.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's that sophisticated-looking guy, and he's wearing a Miller Lite cap.
He looks like he's going to play golf.
It's the only ball cap I could find.
Why
looked
is
everywhere.
it so hot in here?
Because I'm here.
Mike, do you play golf?
Do I play golf?
You play golf?
Do I play golf? No.
Jay, I know Jay plays golf.
But you know what? As much as I hate sports and care nothing about it, if I had to sit down and watch, now hunting and fishing's the only real sport there is, but that stuff y'all call sports?
Yeah.
If I had to sit down and watch something on TV, it'd be a golf game.
Whatever, because you can sleep.
Well, no, it's just because I don't know. I just
you hear that little clap?
I admire the
clap.
I admire the talent
clap.
that those guys have.
Oh, it is a talent.
And
You're
now,
right. Golf
now
is a talent.
Eccles is approaching the third hole.
Yeah, don't let her. Don't
Like
let
I
her
remember
respond
that
to
night.
He pulls out his putter. He reveals his putter.
I didn't know y'all
Oh,
were
my
filming though.
It looks like he's approaching this hole with a wedge.
A wedgie.
No, it was a putter.
Hey, this segment brought to you by Steve Nichols, Specialty Track Hoe. We're going to blame him. Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis and Espino Jim South Tire for all your tire needs. For the family car to farm equipment, go to DespinoTire.com to find a dealer near you. Okay, now this week is really huge because the Major League Fishing's #1 pro from Natchitoches, Louisiana originally, Keith Poche.
Yeah.
Going to be here on the show,
Yep.
12:15, or excuse me, 11:15.
Next segment.
11:15, so you only got a few minutes for a potty break or to go putt or
Okay,
whatever it is
let's
that
say,
you got to do.
if you could only ask one question to Keith Poche, what would it be, Gary McCoy? What would it be? One question.
Where do you find crawfish living over in Alabama?
Okay.
Doesn't he live in Alabama?
Yeah,
now?
yeah. What's your favorite all-time bait?
No, not me.
What's yours?
I'd ask him, did he actually connect with a punch and a lock with old big Jughead? What's his name? Jughead.
Ish Monroe.
Ish Monroe, yeah. Did he actually connect with a punch?
Keith Poche is going to be on the show. Daryl Gleason is going to be telling us all about Toledo Bend. So if you've qualified for the upcoming Boss Championship, June 2nd and 3rd on Toledo Bend, listen close because he's going to dial us all in.
Or if you're fishing Sealy coming up next
Oh, that's
week.
right.
Yeah.
Because that's May 18, 19, and 20.
Yep.
May 18th, 19th. And you know what? Let's get Daryl to kind of break things down for us. Fishing for a 5-fish limit as opposed, or a single fish, a big fish,
right,
as opposed to a 5-fish
he said
limit.
anything but don't talk about the bushes. He said, don't talk about the bushes again. He's had enough of that.
We're done?
We're done with that. I said, well, the bushes ain't working anyway, so forget it.
You don't want to hang around the bush no more, huh? Okay. All right. That's what I thought. And supposedly, FLW Pro Mark Rose, last week, we had him all lined up, and we had some technical difficulties and weren't able to get him on the show.
Yeah.
And he just texted Graf, and he says, I'm ready.
He's good to
I'm
go.
sitting here. I'm primed. I'm poised.
He
Straight up 12 o'clock.
Nine of the 10 numbers punched in. All you
Yeah.
got to do is push the
He's ready
last
to go.
one. Push send.
We're going to have him straight up 12 o'clock. So be listening for that. And one of the things that is really important to us, as always, is our sponsors, because without them we couldn't afford to buy the airtime. We couldn't afford to pay Jay and all the money he makes.
I get paid?
Yes, sir.
That's what I was wondering.
Hang on one second.
And this week's spotlight sponsor, or sponsor spotlight, is on our Facebook page, Toledo Town and Tackle.
Yeah,
Kirk Carver.
Kirk Carver and the gang over there. What a wonderful job. What great place. And again, if you go to Toledo Bend, how many people probably make the trip to Toledo Bend and don't go to Toledo Town at least once?
Well, Kurt is, essentially my brother.
Yeah.
He is my oldest son's godfather, and so I'm kind of prejudiced when it comes to Kurt and Toledo Town and Tackle.
Right.
But I got to tell you,
You know what? If you take the two, Buddy, your son, and
Yeah.
Kirk Carver,
Yeah.
it really needs to be the other way around. Buddy needs to be watching over Kirk.
you got a point. I never thought about that. But you know what? They are synonymous with Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
Because, Mr. Glenn was around, when Toledo was brand new.
When they opened the gate, closed the gates, and
Yeah.
said, fill her up.
He was a professor down at McNeese, and he developed, the plastic worm that we know today was part of his original creation. And if it weren't for him and the original twister tail worm and then Toledo Tackle,
So Glenn was a professor,
yes,
and his brother, what was the brother's name? Yes.
over in Minden.
Yeah. He was a biologist.
Biologist,
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, one of the two.
And
Nice.
at one point, 90% of the soft plastics poured in this country were right there at Toledo Town.
Glenn might have actually been a biologist professor.
Okay.
Or a professor of
But
biology.
the other one that just passed away about a year or so ago,
was a biologist by trade.
he did a lot of youth instruction stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great guy.
Oh,
Great
and
guy.
all the Carvers in that whole area from Athens all the way down. But at any rate, when you're there on Toledo Bend, it's worth a trip to Toledo Town. And I'm going to tell you,
Al,
that's him. And when you get ready for the Big Bass Splash on Toledo,
Yeah.
you can't go to the water and not stop there, because there's going to be something you're going to need.
Exactly.
You're going to want to at least walk into the store and see what's flying off the shelves.
And people have asked me, what makes it so good? If it's made, he's probably got it.
Or got two of them.
Or got two of them, yeah. If he don't have it out front, he may have it in the back.
Me and Pete Daniels had a major discussion. It was almost our first fight. My fishing partner.
Yeah.
He kicked my butt the last tournament that we fished on Caddo Lake, because he had one bait,
Was it the hammerhead?
the jackhammer.
Jackhammer, I mean.
I was like, don't you ever buy one bait again, ever. I'm not going to sit here and be your net man all day.
I used to do that to Randy
Well,
Bear.
he could have bought one, but he had to finance the other one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good gosh. I was over at Bayou Outdoors a while ago, and they have got a new shipment of jackhammers in.
Yeah, buddy.
And they are selling them as fast as they can roll them
It's
out on the shelf.
unreal. In fact, if you go to the Z-Man website,
Yeah.
just about everything that's on there is currently out of stock.
Right.
I just talked to Ryan from Z-Man earlier today, and he works in the marketing department and all kinds of really awesome people.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, I was like, you really ought to be associated with a Hooking Up, Tracking Down show. He goes, so we can stay more out of stock than we already are? I was like, well, you got a point
That's
there.
our job. Send business.
Yeah,
to
buddy.
you.
Bass Cash Bash update. We've got one for you. Apparently, has somebody made another catch?
Yep. They had a girl was fishing a high school event. And let's see here. Bass Cashback. Congratulations to Lakin Moore of Evans High School fishing team. Lakin was fishing in the South Central Louisiana High School fishing tournament out of Big Bass Marina when she landed her $1,500 Big Bass Cash tag. When Lakin landed her tag, she knew exactly what to do. She clipped the tag off of the bass, kept right on competing in her high school tournament. At the end of the day, she turned the tag in to cash it in for $1,000 for the tag, and she had the T-shirt for a $500 bonus. And the T-shirt's only an extra $20, so she $1,500. They've had 9 tag bass caught in a week. 4 bass over 10 pounds in a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was looking somewhere, and somebody had posted on Facebook. It was one of the guides. It might have been Daryl. They had 2 customers out, like one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, and both of them, no, it was the same day. One in the morning and one in the afternoon. Both had bought half-day trips.
Oh.
And both of them caught tagged fish. One was in Bass Cash Bass. The other one wasn't. Dude,
man.
Can you imagine? Okay, now listen. Is this the HFL? Is that the high school fishing league?
Yeah.
You got an update for us?
Yep. Noah, they had a Red River tournament. It was a 2-day event. Noah Westmoreland and Hunter Patterson of Captain Shreve won it. They had 8 fish for 2 days, weighed 30.52 pounds. That's a 3.8 pound average.
Wow.
I was surprised.
You know,
at that.
and Donnie Westmoreland, we've had on the show. That's your
Exactly.
son.
That's his son.
Wow. Good job,
Yeah,
guys.
3.8 pound average
Yeah.
on Red River. I thought that was outstanding.
So you would figure, with the way that things went recently with the championship that was there, that 20 pounds over 2 days would have won it.
They had a 15 pound average each day. So
That means the kids are better than the adults.
well, it could be. Bennett Hopkins and Tyler Hilton of Parkway finished second. They had 10 fish limit for 2 days, 27.08. Trip Bowman and Matthew Nesbitt from Halton were third.
know who that
That's-
is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Carlin. Yep, Carlin's boy.
No.
Yeah.
Is it? Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yes. I
They
apologize.
finished third with 24.50 for 2 days. And then Ashlyn Boyer and Kylie Boyer from Halton. You know them?
I don't know them.
They're from Halton. You should know
Kylie?
them, Gary. Kylie.
Sounds like a girl.
I think it is a girl.
I hope it
That's
is.
Kaylee.
Kylie.
Okay.
What's the difference? Okay. Was fourth with 22.1.
Kaylee will slap sparks off your head. You call her Kylie.
Number 5, the 5th place was
you didn't know the difference
Harley
before.
Connell and Jackson McGee from Captain Shreve. They had 5 fish for 20.25. William is it 2?
Two,
William
yeah.
2.
William
and
2, that's
Hunter
called-
Sanford finished 6th with 19.43. Blaze Shagnard and Christopher Giordano.
Chris Giordano.
We know who that is. 7th place with 18.22. Benton Miller and Jackson Smith. God, normal names. Thank you. North DeSoto High School finished 8th with 16.54. Mason Pitts and Alex Taylor from Captain Shreve. Captain Shreve was strong in this event. Finished 9th with 15.16. Nick Cannon and Taylor Williams of Parkway finished 10th with 14.16. And Hunter Holder, we all know that's Jeff's boy, and Dagan Bates finished 11th with 14.08.
Question for you. Could you go to Red River right now and in 2 days catch 30 pounds of bass?
Yeah, I could do it. It'd take me 4 days, though.
Okay.
instead of 2.
See, that's like
And it has to be a 15 fish limit.
I was going to say, the winners of the Boss Tournament, Jeff Holder and Terry Berghardt this past Saturday on Bistineau, they had 27 pounds. I went like 5 times to Bistineau practicing, and I didn't have 27 pounds in all 5 trips
Exactly.
together.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But, and real quick, while we're on this topic, the Anglers of the Year has been announced, and we will have them on the show soon. Their Angler of the Year for the HFL this year is Bennett Hopkins and Tyler Hilton of Parkway. Congratulations. Both those guys, I've got their contact numbers. They will be on the show in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that.
Major League Fishing's #1 ranked pro, Keith Poche, up next. Hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
In a little subdivision, her daddy wore a tie, mama never fried a chicken.
The Hook It Up and Track It Down show, of course, is proud to be associated with our fine sponsors, Toledo Town and Tackle, V&M Baits, Commercial Power Equipment, Daiwa Samurai Braid, and J&J Exterminating. Don't let pests invade your next event. Call J&J Exterminating today. Now back to the guys who appreciate a good exterminator, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Hey, and if you want to win money like the pros, you need to fish the Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series, celebrating over 30 years of big bass tournaments. And up next, Toledo Bend, not this weekend, but the following weekend, May 18th, 19th, and 20th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at a Cypress Bend Park, giving away $497,000, and that's guaranteed prize money. Nobody pays out more money, gives away bigger prizes while contributing thousands of dollars to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. If you want to get registered for this or any of the other tournaments that are coming up, he's still got a couple of more. All the Bob Seeley events are listed right there at SeeleyOutdoors.com. SeeleyOutdoors.com. And remember, Toledo Bend, May 18, 19, and 20. They are accepting registration for that right now. Keith Poche is on the phone. Dude, you're number one with MLF right now. Is that weird for you, or is that one of those situations that you expected to be? Has it been that kind of a year, or what?
Hey, guys. Yeah, I tell you, man, it's real exciting. Man, I've put a lot of hard work in this deal, and I've been fishing a few years, and, I've been third, I've been fourth, and it's finally good to come out on top and get the job done this year.
Oh, fantastic. When you're fishing, MLF like that, and, I mean, you're making your ride through, as you go over the lake, what are some of the things that you look for? I mean, are you looking for differences? Are you looking exclusively at your graph? You looking for water changes? What's something that Keith Poche says, hey, that's a place I need to start?
Yeah, real quick on to let your listeners know, I mean, they put us on a body of water. We have no idea where we're going that morning.
Right.
So, we get up first thing that morning, and they throw us on a body of water. A lot of times it's a place we've never seen before. So, a lot of times on these ride-arounds, there's only a limited amount of time, 15 to 30 minutes. You really have to look for something that you as an individual, as a fisherman, feel comfortable with, because that's what you're going to be successful at throughout that day. You kind of get a starting point of a kind of a game plan. All right, I like this. I see some activity over here. This looks good. So you start processing all that, and it has to happen really fast, and you just have to go with it. You just have to, get a gut feeling and go for it, and let that evolve, and let the fish tell you what's going to happen throughout the day.
Hey, Keith, Mike Eccles here. You've got an angler that I think you're familiar with down at your neck of the woods that never knows what lake he's going to in a tournament till he drives up there every morning, and that's Cole Garrett. He has no idea where he's going to be until he wakes up. I think Cole.
Hey, Keith, real quick, give us the layout of MLF and what it's all about. A lot of people don't understand. You're trying to qualify. There's selects. You're trying to qualify for the Cup. Break the MLF series down for us real quick.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing to a sense, but you got to understand there's the Cup, which is 2 events, and then you got the selects, and that's 2 events, and it's 2 separate groups of guys. So the Cup started years ago, like 8-9 years ago. That was the first group. Then they invited the new group, which is me, I've been part of the select, and it's just a new series they started to have some turnover, to have some new faces in the league, to, some guys to advance to the Cups and become full Cup anglers. It's just like any other tour, to have some turnover, see some new faces, and make it a little bit more challenging and some qualifications to be able to advance to. So, but you have 2 Cups, and as a select myself, I'm fishing 2, a Summit Select and a Challenge Select. And before I was trying to, when I won my event, when I won a Summit Select, I qualified for just the Summit Cup. Then if I won the Challenge Select, then I qualified only for the Challenge Cup. So it was a qualifying event for each one. But, they started the point system for us to qualify full time. So I ended up winning the points overall this year, so I will be a full-time Cup guy going in 2019. So I will not fish any more select going forward.
Well, Keith, here's and I'm trying to be delicate with this. Your success on the Elite Series versus your success on the Major League Series. Something's happened with the Major League that this just must fit your style of fishing or something, because you've just zoomed to the top. And what's the difference? I mean, why is this your cup of tea?
You know, if you tell me, we both know. I really don't know myself.
No, it's not luck. There is something with this format that fits the way Keith Poche thinks.
You know, I really don't know. I get asked that a lot, and I sit around and wonder myself. You know, I think it's the no practice, because I believe a lot of times when I get a chance to go out and look at a lake and I get them a couple of days of practice, it almost confuses me. I almost get kind of wrapped up in so much information, so much things going on around me that I want to try to fish history, what I did 2 days ago, instead of just fishing the moment, fishing what's in front of me and what the fish are doing today. Because, you know, it changes so much from day to day to hour that we have to continue to make those adjustments. And I want to try to make it happen what happened 2 days ago or a day ago. So I believe just going fishing what's in front of me, fishing confidently is what really gets me going and being able to be successful in Major League Fishing.
I think, too, Keith, I've watched almost all of the episodes from the day it started. I really think one thing that plays in your favor is your intensity level on those days is extremely high. It's almost like you're putting on a helmet and shoulder pads again, and you're ready to go, run over somebody. Your intensity, in my opinion, comparing you to other anglers that are a little more calm, you tend to make changes quicker, I've noticed, than a lot of other guys. And you try to fish to your strength really quick. You're a shallow water guy. You try to get in the back of these creeks. That's what you like to do. You're almost like a river rat, and that fits your style. And you're very confident that you can figure out those little small pockets. I think your intensity level is one thing that separates you from other guys.
Yeah, Steve, you're right. I watch the shows as well, and I see those guys. And they're like, "Well, there's a good one," and I'm hooping and I'm hollering. I'm about to jump out of my pants.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you are.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited because it is an exciting format to know that I am doing well. Gets me going. It's just fun all the way around to fish this deal. But I guess you're right. I mean, the type of fishing I like to do, it is shallow, junk fishing kind of deal, and I'm able to just pick apart little things and just kind of put it together as the day goes on. And for whatever reason, it works out for me from time to time.
Keith, you know what? Now, because of that style of fishing, this is going to be an interesting question. Not for your elite fishing, but for just the MLF side of things. We've asked this question of a number of pros. We've never qualified it for that style of fishing. What would you say? What one thing? It could be a lure. It could be your electronics. It could be your motor. It could be a particular kind of a rod. It could be fishing line. But in all likelihood, it's going to be a lure. What one thing would you say you wish you had 10 years ago that you've got today, that if you could have had it 10 years ago, what would that be?
Wow. There's a lot of things. I mean, knowledge, for sure. I mean, of course, we're learning every day, but, I don't really know how to answer that question.
Let's narrow it down for you.
I wasn't fishing pro 10 years ago. I was running these tours and trying to make it, but, I really don't know.
What lure do you wish you had 10 years ago that you've got in your box now?
Probably a finesse jig. I catch a lot of fish on a finesse jig, and people don't realize, how well this thing does. And you can fish it anywhere, anytime. It's a small profile. It's not big and bulky. What it does is it gets a lot of bite. And from time to time, it's going to catch big fish, too. So when you're in a bind or when you need a fish, you put this jig on, you're going to catch fish, and you're going to catch a big one too on it. So, a lot of people don't like fishing jigs because they have a hard time getting confidence in it or having success with it. Start out with a finesse jig, and I'm not trying to promote my jig, but I have a new finesse jig out, and what I like about this jig is I got a big hook in. I've noticed on some finesse jigs that they put a little light wire hook. Well, I don't fish a jig like that finesse style. I throw it on big line, big rod, 5/16, 7/16. I pitch it in the thickest stuff you can, but it's that small profile that I believe with a little crawl on the back that really get those bites and that finesse time, because we get so many places we fish is so high pressured, and having that little something different really makes a difference from getting that bite or two on a lot of days.
Hey Keith, give us the name of the jig and what type of trailer. I mean, if you're going to go out and say, okay, I got to throw a finesse jig, what are you going to be throwing? What brand is it?
Well, it's a new jig I just designed with a company Jack Baits. It's the KP Power Finesse jig, just like it's called, and we built it just the way we call it. It's built for power, but it has a finesse look. It's new on Tackle Warehouse. You go to tacklewarehouse.com and look it up under Jack Baits KP Power Finesse jig. Typically, my go-to colors just normal green pumpkin. Most of the time, if it's off-colored, I'd use a black and blue. But I'm putting a little small crawl on the back. It doesn't matter what kind it is, as long as it's small and not too big and bulky. That's the whole concept of it. Small profile to get those bites and those big bites. That's what people don't understand. Just because you're throwing a smaller bait doesn't mean you won't get a big bite, because you definitely will with this jig.
Okay, one question about baits and Major League, and I hope you can answer this. I watch Major League a lot.
No.
And you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One thing that you do not see on Major League Fishing is the anglers showing and promoting the baits that they use. You don't see it like you do on other shows. What's the reason for that?
Well,
I mean,
one thing they will do is a recap show of each event, and that's when they will reveal.
As a matter of fact, if you watch Major League, you rarely get to see the bait that the anglers are throwing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that's the time where y'all throwing prototypes or baits that maybe y'all are using that you haven't come out on the market yet, and you're trying to keep it a secret, or what?
Not necessarily. Major League Fishing, it's really an awesome league, but they have certain sponsors, Major League Fishing sponsors, and I'm not trying to down anybody or try to say anything bad, but they want to keep it generic for their sponsors as a whole. They don't want to get any kind of they don't want to throw a lot of different bait companies out there,
right?
Okay. Because
they don't want their competition being advertised on their
show.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak out of line when I'm saying this, and I hope nobody gets upset. But that's part of it. And sometimes guys just not really want to say what they're doing. Even though it's right there and you can tell, but they just kind of keep it on hush anyway. But there's a couple of different reasons, and those being one or two. But that's the only thing I could think of.
Okay.
All right,
Keith O'Shea, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
and
man.
Continued success on that. I mean, now listen, you left Louisiana and you're living in Alabama now. Where do you find
on purpose?
Where do you find crawfish there?
Well, it ain't too many places you can find. I have to head back to Natchez. Go see my daddy if I want to get some good crawfish.
Man, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine this time of the year, being away from. I mean, and we got crawfish down here now as low as like $1.50 a pound right now. And I can't imagine being all the way over there because I lived in Alabama.
Keith
for a
probably
year.
has anxiety attacks.
I can't imagine. Yeah. So.
Well, when I get a chance to eat it, I eat my share of it. So I get full of it for about a couple months. I won't have to get it for a while. So, but yeah, it's I miss it. It's the food stuff. But much as I travel, I'm over that way. Like I'm heading Saturday. I'll be heading through Louisiana, going to Austin, Texas to our next event. So. I'll probably stop in and eat me a little bit.
There you go.
Fantastic. Brother, thank you. We appreciate that, and you keep tearing them up.
Thank you, Keith.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Sit tight. We are hooking up and tracking down, and Daryl Gleason has a Toledo Bend report for us next. AM 1130, The Tiger.
Looking for valuable information that'll make you a better hunter, fisherman, or just a better person? You got to check out our website. It's HUTDshow.com. It's loaded with essential info you need to make you a better outdoorsman. This segment presented by K2 Coolers, Nichols Department Stores, Groove Fishing, Lake Fork Marina, and Toledo Fiberglass. Home of the Gorilla Hole and your Minn Kota headquarters for the Arklatex. For all your fiberglass repair needs, turn to Toledo Fiberglass. Once again, here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
And speaking of Toledo Fiberglass, also home of the Gorilla Hole with a lifetime warranty of your boat. So if anybody passes away and they pass that boat on somebody, it's still good. So we're going to kill Gary.
Mike's not dead. He just smells
Mike's
that
not
way.
Dead, so. But they're also Humminbird Minn Kota dealer and located just west of Toledo town on Highway 6. To learn more, go to ToledoFiberglass.com.
I want to put a disclaimer in here. I don't believe anybody's ever been a better person because they listen to Hooking Up and Tracking Down. As a matter of fact, we've corrupted more people than we have improved.
Hey, Graf used to be a deacon.
I know it. Yeah, I'm having to earn status back.
He has to go up there and ask permission to come in on Sundays now.
I got confession every week now.
Toledo Bend is where it's going on. Daryl Gleason is there, and Daryl, I understand that right now.
The wind's blowing.
Yes, and
yeah. Can y'all hear me? Okay, the wind's kind of blowing out here a little bit
got
today.
you.
But things are starting to heat up out there offshore right now.
They are actually. The guy with me right now is taking a little keeper off right now as we speak. So yeah, the offshore bite's finally starting to come around, and we can finally quit talking about bushes.
The first thing you sent me here today, let's not talk about bushes.
Okay, Daryl, I do want to ask you one thing. What's the furthest north you have seen, personally, any growth of hydrilla?
San Patricio.
Okay.
And it wasn't a lot, but there's a little.
Yeah.
So it could be coming on up there.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, if because what I was told over the last couple of years was that in some of the spraying of the salvinia, which you really don't want to spread, but in some of the spray, that it's killed a lot of the emerging hydrilla. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that area, but something has definitely changed the grass the last few years. So I know they had sprayed for salvinia here the last year or two. I think in hopes of getting our hydrilla to come back for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how are we going to catch a fish right now? And one of the things that Graf brought up that I thought was kind of cool was with those that are going to be down there, not this weekend, but next weekend with the McDonald's Big Bass Splash. I keep calling it McDonald's. It's still a McDonald's tournament.
A hard habit to break.
But with the Big Bass Splash coming up, 18, 19, and 20, you're fishing for that one big fish. How does Daryl Gleason, if you had a client that was down there that was practicing and wanted to know, a good technique and a good area to be for a single fish. How would you prep that guy as opposed to a guy who was looking for a good 5-fish stringer?
Well, so you kind of go into a tournament like that with a little bit different mentality. First of all, I always try to preach to everybody: if you're fishing that big bass tournament, you're here to have a good time. Hopefully, you're fishing with a friend or family member or something. You're here to have fun, but you're fishing for one big bite, so you do change your strategy a little bit. The biggest thing I would tell people is the fish are really going to be around cover. If you're doing the shallow deal, you need to be around some kind of grass or some shallow cover. But if it was me personally, what I really like to do is to get out and drag a big 3/4 ounce B&M football jig with like a J-bug as a trailer. It kind of bulks up the bait, makes it look big. And if I'm fishing for one fish, I want a big lure this time of the year. The fish are mostly post-spawn right now, so they're not necessarily feeding all day, but when they do bite, they like to bite big lures. That's why this time of the year you see a lot of fish will spit up brim in your live well and stuff, or crappie. Mm-hmm. They're not eating 10 times a day, but when they do decide to eat, they go ahead and get them a big old meal. So if it was me, I would really try to put them on a jig, and we'd really try to focus on some offshore structure, either a point or a hump or a ridge. And if you can find one with some brush or some stumps, that's even a bonus. It's a little bit better.
And your mental approach is more, now I'm fishing for like 3 bites a day rather than maybe 10.
Yeah, you have to kind of, if you're going to really try to fish well to do in that event, you just have to have that mentality. I'm fishing for like 3 to 5 bites would be a great day.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of people on the lake. You don't have just a full run to go to all your holes, on the lake. So 3 to 5 bites, with the jig, typically you're going to have some money fish for there.
Mm-hmm. I've always wondered, is it like the movie Jaws, when you see everybody going out, and they're dropping dynamite over the side, and they're all fighting among each other.
You've never been there for
I've never been there for
it's just
I'm like,
crazy.
it's got to be insanity.
It's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, you should register and come down just for the insanity, and let us follow you around and watch.
Daryl, you know what?
Actually, those days, I'll actually take my guide trips, and I'll go over to Sam Rayburn and just let everybody kind of have the water.
Yeah.
It is a whole lot of people, out here, so I kind of give them their space, and I go on.
During those 3 days, if you were just out there fishing, one of the things that I've determined is that you've got certain areas that everybody's going to be on top of each other. Housing and 6 Mile, anywhere, Tennessee Bay, any of that. There's going to be a ton of fish or a ton of people. But then you got other areas, and it used to be that way back in the day, like at Converse and Bison's and things of that nature. You could get over around Bayou Seep and even up as far north as Circle Drive. They would that the same. But there's other areas where there's not a lot of competition. Is it because there's no fish there, or is it just because people have determined they can't catch them there?
I think there's fish in every creek's like its own lake. Now, obviously, some are more popular than the others. Like Housing is so popular because the mouth of it's near the river, and there's a lot of great flats and fishy structure. But you could take Mill Creek, is not a huge creek, down on the south end, or Buck Creek. There's tons of big fish caught out of them. So, a lot of times just preference. And it's like kids at the playground. They think that one toy is so cool because everybody else is hanging around it.
Yeah.
It's like when a boat is headed south on the Texas side and they get to Housing and see all those boats, they just got to go jump in and play. So,
yeah.
But you can get around and spread around. But that particular tournament, I wouldn't come fish the Big Bass Splash thinking I was going to go find somewhere to be alone. You just kind of accept the fact that there's a lot of people, and you just kind of pile in and do your thing, man. Just go fishing.
Daryl, do you think that it's possible that fish are holding in places now that they didn't used to because of fishing pressure? Or do you think that that's just not going to happen? If they weren't there 20 years ago, they're not going to be there now because there's some reason that it doesn't hold fish biologically?
I would absolutely believe that, and I hope that, because a lot of places where they traditionally held them, they're gone. So they've either left the lake or they're hiding in new places. But even myself, I have found the last 2 years the fishing pressure has really changed the way I have to fish the lake. And I'm constantly, on the move trying to find new holes and things like that. And I am seeing them in places I've never seen them before. So the fish are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. And this happens at every lake. Every lake goes through cycles. And a lot of times It could just be the depth of the lake or the grass growth or, the fishing pressure. So the fish are really smart and adapt. So they're starting to move to new places, and we're having to use new techniques to catch them.
You don't have to be real smart to know that you either get your head chopped off by a boat motor or you move.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of survival for the fish.
But you know what, Daryl?
Yeah,
this is an important question for anybody that might be headed there for McDonald's. Daryl Gleason's on the water every day. And if Daryl Gleason said if he had to narrow, down to 3 different depth averages, would it be that the fish were in 5 foot or less, they were in 7 to 12, or they're in 14 plus? What would Daryl Gleason go looking for?
So I would tell you that I think the vast majority of our fish are in that 7 to 12 foot.
That's me.
There's enough up shallow where you can make that work if that's just your thing, and there are some out even deeper, which is kind of my thing. But I do think the vast majority is in that 7 to 12 kind of transition. And right now there's probably still just a few left trying to spawn, and then our shad spawn is kind of going first thing in the morning still just a little bit, and then there's some already trying to get out, on their summer stuff. So there's a little of everything, but if I had to just say one deal, I think 7 to 12 foot is where the majority of the fish are.
Another thing, too, is, Daryl, some of these participants in the Sealy event, they may be targeting that 4 to 6 pound range and trying to do well hourly rather than win the whole event.
Yeah.
They may be targeting that group of fish, right?
Yeah, and some people just approach it like another fishing tournament, and they kind of, sometimes they'll back their way into a big one. We've all fished tournaments where you catch a giant 9 or 10 pounder or something like that, and you could win the whole thing.
No. That don't happen. Well, maybe a 4 or 5 pounder.
You forgot you were talking to Graf, right?
Yeah.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Maybe a 4 or 5 pounder.
He's not as bad as he acts.
I
Steve's being humble. I've been there before, donated money to Steve. But no, some people just fish it like a normal event and just go for those money fish. And most of the time, a 4 to 6 pounder, is definitely going to get you paid. I remember years ago before I guided, I fished. I was a school teacher back then, and I still competed in it. And a lot of times, if you have a 3.5 to 4 pounder, you're going to have a chance to maybe squeeze in on the money, especially the first couple hours.
Yeah.
So that was always my strategy. If I caught a 3.5 pounder, I'd go weigh it in immediately.
Amen.
Because a lot of people are holding their fish and they're wanting to hold their spot to see if they can catch a big giant one. But that was always something I did first thing in the morning. If I caught a good one, I'd go weigh it in and try to get a check. But
right.
People are going to have different thoughts approaching that tournament, and it's very hard. Like I'm helping some people practice for that tournament next week and stuff. It's very hard to get in their mindset. I have to kind of go with what they want to do. If they really want to try to win, then we look at just 2 or 3 areas where they can just throw a big bait all day, or if they're just wanting checks, then we try to go with a more predominant pattern.
Daryl, if somebody's wanting to make a ride with you, they want to get ready for McDonald's or maybe anything else that's coming up, what's the best way to book a trip with Daryl? And do you have any openings before the end of June?
I have no openings right now through the ending of June, but I have a few buddies who are very well-trusted friends that are taking a little bit of my slack up when I'm overbooked. And I'm very, very subjective to who I allow to do that. And I have several good friends who are great at it, and they just kind of do it part-time. So if someone's in a bind, needing a little help, they can just shoot me an email at gleasonfishing@gmail.com, or they can find me on Facebook or Instagram and connect with me, and I'll make sure somebody gets them taken care of.
GleasonFishing@gmail.com.
That's a good problem Daryl's got.
Oh, dude. But you know what?
It's a great problem.
You only have that problem if you can back up what you say.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Daryl Gleason, thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Daryl.
Appreciate you guys, man. Y'all be good.
And sit tight. Here in just a minute, we've got something that you want to do. Is it the boss results?
We got the boss results, the angler of the year. We've got a raffle going on that's going to help one of the teams go to California, a high school team. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up.
And it's straight up 12 o'clock. FLW pros Mark Rose, the leading FLW angler of the year in the race there right now at this point.
Yep.
He's at straight up 12 noon. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger.
He said that any love is good.
Have you been to our Facebook page yet? Go to Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show for outdoors news, videos, and great product giveaways. This segment presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Toledo Bend Guide, Daryl Gleason, and United Rentals. The only place to get all the equipment you'll need to complete your next project. Go to UnitedRentals.com to learn more.
You know, I'm proud of the fact that I've been in tournament business for 14 years and have a couple of good circuits going on. But old PD Vincent has hit a home run
Without doubt.
with the Bass Cash Bash promo. Well, I'm not supposed to say promo. That's one part of it. Bass Cash Bash. It's the longest running tag fish tournament series that there's ever been. Lake Fork is running March through June the 30th. That's one of the great things about his tournament. It's not just like I got to do it this Saturday.
Right.
It goes
Well, and
on
the cool part is you could be fishing in the Big Bass Splash tournament and then this
the
at
Big
the same
Bass
time.
Cash. Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you back your boat in the water,
You're in the tournament. Right.
If it's going on at that
And
time.
the Toledo Bend is running May the 1st through Labor Day. They got $500,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. And as they say, don't be that guy.
Yep.
Don't go out to Toledo Bend or Fort, especially fishing the tournaments coming
It's
up.
$50.
And not invest that money because two-thirds of the fish, tag fish caught, are by people that
Didn't
spend
register.
the $50.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, you're losing a truck, a boat, of $5 million, whatever it is, because you didn't invest. And they had, 10 caught this week?
Yeah.
These are not fish like 1 in a billion chances of catching them.
Right.
They're catching them every day down there.
Right.
So don't
Exactly.
be that guy. Bass, Cash, Bash.
All right. All right, little outdoor news. I got a CWD update for you. Continuing sampling efforts conducted by the LDWF for chronic wasting disease in East Carroll Parish over there at Madison, where they, across the Mississippi line, they found the deer with the, that was tested positive for chronic waste, and but it's on the Mississippi side. Well, East Carroll, Madison, and Tensas parishes have turned up no positive results so far for the disease. They have sampled 239 deer from 3 parishes.
We had this a couple of weeks ago.
Did y'all?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we've covered this.
This is a new update.
Okay.
Y'all-
They still hadn't found any.
Yeah, no, they still haven't found any.
Yeah.
So
They keep
that's
not
good
finding
news.
them.
That's
You know
good.
what? Every time I watch Gone with the Wind, it ends the same damn way.
Okay, well, good. So that's a good thing.
Yes,
so
it's
they
wonderful.
are. Yeah,
It's not a bad job of covering your mistake there, Grant.
well,
That
yeah.
wasn't bad.
Hey, I'm getting good at that.
I know I'm reading the same thing twice, but it's an update.
Practice makes perfect. All right, Gary, you take the next one. I know we didn't talk about this one.
The next one is I have no idea.
Facebook.
I didn't know we were
stupidity.
doing this.
I didn't either. That's what it says on
April 3rd, game wardens received an Operation Game Thief Crime Stoppers call alleging that an individual was trying to sell an alligator on Facebook. For sale, one alligator.
It gets better.
Wardens quickly determined the man was actually looking to sell the rifle pictured in his post, not the alligator, which still begged the question, where did he get the gator? Wardens continued the investigation and learned the individual harvested the alligator illegally in San Jacinto County. During an interview April the 13th, which was just 10 days later, wardens gained a full confession from the individual.
After waterboarding.
Yeah. Appropriate charges and restitution were filed. And you know what? That does bring that up. Because, we've mentioned this before. How do they get these guys to confess?
I'm telling you, there's got to be something we don't
How
know
did-
about.
I don't know where that alligator came from. He was in my yard when I showed up.
Toothpicks under the fingernails. I don't know what they're doing.
Because they
but
all.
they're-
Oh yeah, and there's 3 more deer in the back of the truck back here, and my cousin Claude's got 7 of them over in the deep freeze.
Check the old washing machine out
Yeah.
back too.
How do
I'm
you?
like,
you know,
I don't know, man.
Apparently there's people out there that for the majority of their life tell the truth.
I guess.
And they crack easy.
I guess.
If you've been
you
lying,
got to practice your lying.
that's
Yeah.
it. If you've been lying all your life, you wouldn't give in that
It's
easy.
rookies. That's what it is. They have just
you.
started hunting and fishing. After you've been doing this 25, 30 years, you're really good at lying.
And then they tell the guy that, okay, we already really know what happened. And I'm like, How do you know? Well, then
Yeah.
if you know, why do you ask
Why do you
me?
need me to tell you? You already know
He's
what
got
happened.
your buddy in the other room, and he's spilling the beans right now.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe we need to conduct some classes.
They need to watch. They need to watch Law and Order every night.
Yeah, there you go.
You can learn the ropes.
Okay, you got another story for us.
No, that was it.
Okay.
Oh, Mike's got a
no,
story.
he does. He
Well, I've
so-
got one, but I'd rather do something else.
Okay. Well, what
Okay,
would you rather do?
we have a tournament coming up. Or no, a fundraiser.
We've got a fundraiser coming up, but I'm going to do that. And get your pencil ready because I'm going to give you a phone number. But I'm going to do we had the Landers Ram Cash Splash this past weekend, which some people in the room participated in.
No, I was there.
Yeah.
I paid entry fee.
Did you donate?
Yeah.
Finishing an also participating category, Pete Daniels and Gary McCoy.
It was terrible.
92 teams converged on Lake Bistineau.
Did y'all get a certificate?
No, we did finish 20th place for the
Oh,
year.
you did all right.
Yeah.
So, and golly, yes, the numbers are down. The numbers are down on fish caught.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did a survey.
Oh, wow.
46 teams filled out this survey. The average number of fish caught that day per boat was 4.4 fish.
Wow.
The winning team only caught 8 fish that day.
Wow.
Terry Burkhart and Jeff Holder, but they caught the right ones. 5 fish, 27.51, 27.5 pounds.
Way to go.
Along with the gator tail big bass that was 6.78. They went home with $4,000. Jeremy Botique and Ricky Lee, second place with 1976, almost an 8 pound
Now,
drop.
did Ricky fish by himself?
No, he fished with Jeremy.
Jeremy was
had a
his dance recital with his quadruplets or triplets or
yeah.
whatever. I mean,
like
quadruplets.
10
Hey, let
little
me tell you,
girls
they-
dancing at one time.
they had a litter. I mean, his wife was in
Oh,
my
God.
Sunday
They
school
had,
class.
They had triplets, and he had to leave early to
Yeah.
go to that.
Yeah.
But they came in with 5 fish that weighed 1976. But there's, like I said, there's an 8 pound gap between first
Yeah.
and second.
It's crazy.
They went home with $2,000, and they only caught 8 fish that day.
Wow.
Cody Dollar, Chris Lee, third place, 1973. They won $1,000. Josh Danzy and Ray Moore, fourth place with 1906. They went home with $900. Danny Kellogg, Chad Long came in fifth with 1854, but they also won Angler of the Year.
Congratulations, guys.
Danny Kellogg and Chad Long will be fishing free in the Boss next year. James Blythe and Mike Leopard, sixth place with 1853, and their son, Mike's sons, both of them, Hunter Leopard and Hutton Leopard, were nipping at their heels for seventh place. They had 1784. David Roberts, Jimmy Roberts were eighth with a 1764. And Cody Beasley, John Hoare had 1731 for ninth place, and the 10th place, Jeff Pate, Eddie Shaw, they had 1701. And golly, I don't remember who the we paid like 48, 49 places. And
We were this close.
yeah, we'd had to pay. We'd had
Right
to pay,
there.
We
We
didn't
paid
pay-
the entire field, and Gary and Pete still didn't win nothing. Dude, it was just crazy.
And I can't remember who got the what's the name of the tire company?
Despino?
No, but they're the sponsors of this. Gateway Tire Giveaway.
Oh, way to go.
sorry.
Okay.
Gateway Tire Giveaway. They pay $100 to the team with the smallest 5 fish limit, and that's not on here. I don't remember who got that.
Okay.
Y'all didn't win that?
Yeah, 40.
No.
Oh, y'all didn't have
We
5.
had, we
You
had three. We had 3 bites.
Oh, wow.
I had 2. Hey, I beat Pete. I had 2 bites.
That's all that matters.
And I caught one of them.
Oh, there you
And
go.
Pete had 1 bite.
Okay,
All day.
get your pencil out so you can write down this phone number. Tyler Craig and Spencer Lambert. We've had Tyler Craig on the show before, one of the up-and-coming rising stars in the high school league. They have made the national championship, which will be May 23rd, 4th, and 5th in California on Clear Lake. Now, it's going to cost a bunch of money for these kids. It's going to cost their families a bunch of money for these kids to drive from here to California, pull a boat, and fish for the national championship. So what they have done, Kenneth Craig, and with the help of some other very generous people, they're doing a raffle, and they're raffling off a guided fishing trip to Heartland 1010 Lakes.
Oh, cool.
Selling $20 raffle tickets. If you want to help this team cover their expenses to California at the end of this month, call Kenneth up, and here's where you need a pencil. Write this number down, area code 510-0162. 510-0162. Call Kenneth up. They'll make arrangements for a raffle ticket to win a guided fishing trip to Heartland 1010 Ranch, and you'll help this high school team make their way to the national championship.
That's awesome.
It is. It's a great deal.
Okay, sit tight. Mark Rose is the current leader for Angler of the Year with the FLW. And Mark Rose is coming up next, hopefully going to spend a whole half hour with us. We'll find out exactly what's going on with him. And he's combating burnout as a pro angler. How do you keep yourself rejuvenated? How do you go day after day after day and be just as excited on day 10 as you were on day 1? That's next. Hooking up and tracking down, 11:30, the Tiger.
Lips like cherry wine. That girl can show.
That's right. Here comes one more hour of outdoor news and hot topics here on the greatest outdoor show ever, the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show. This segment presented by the Red River Waterway Commission, Stingray Line Cutter, Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, and Commercial Power Equipment. For all your lawn care needs, see the experts at Commercial Power Equipment located at 750 Burt Coons in Shreveport. Take it away, guys.
Hey, it's Gary McCoy along with the Ranger and Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff. The old Mudhen Mike Eccles is here, and of course, little Jaybird Watley is here. And on the phone with us today, FLW Pro Mark Rose. And Mark, first off, thank you for taking the time to join us. Sorry we had the technical problems last week, but one of the things that's occurred to us is because you're on the water so freaking much, what have you got to do to avoid being totally burned out as an angler?
Well, thanks of all, first of all, for having me, and good to be with you guys. One of the things I do to keep from getting burnt out is don't fish a lot. To be honest with you, I never go bass fishing ever throughout the year unless right.
We're losing you, Mark.
Yeah, we're not having a good connection, Mark.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
now we
got
got
you
you.
now. We got you.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm out here in the country, and I thought the service would be okay. But anyway, if y'all heard me, I tried not to be on the water just a whole lot, and I go bluegill fishing, crappie fishing. I still like to fish for fun, and I like to watch the cork go under. But I don't bass fish on my off time.
Really? I mean, is it because you don't want to be you don't want to have that situation where you don't want to be there? I mean, is that the main purpose, or is it because when there's not money on the line, you'd rather do something else?
No, I purposely don't.
Lost you again.
This is my 19th year, and I just know that if that I'll get burnt out because, I mean, when September rolls around this year, I'll start to get burnt out. So I know just what one season. I just want it to be where man, I'm excited. My mind.
Mark,
I'm ready to go.
You're breaking up really bad, buddy.
Yeah, we're getting every other word.
Have you got a coat hanger with some foil on it?
Yeah. Are you wearing your aluminum foil helmet?
We don't have you at all, Mark. Sorry.
How about now?
There we go.
Hey, stay right there, wherever you
Don't
are.
move.
So,
well, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have a lot better service here in just a second because I'm going to be more in town. I'm headed to town right now.
So what's town for Mark Rose?
What?
I said, what is town for Mark Rose? What town?
Out here in, right outside of Forest City, between Forest City and Wynn, Arkansas.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, no wonder you're in the mountains.
Yeah, I'm over on Crowley's Ridge, and we got a chance to get some land, and I'm building a lake, and so we're just kind of thinking.
I'm completely amazed that you've got any reception because I went goose hunting in Wynn back a couple of months ago, and I didn't have cell service for the entire 4 days I was there.
Yeah.
You live so far back in the woods. When you leave the house to go hunting in the morning, you have to go towards town to find a place to hunt, don't you?
Exactly.
It's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mark. If you get into town and you feel like you got a little bit better service, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you get a little better service, holler back at us. And while you're doing that, we'll just take a quick break. He wants me to stretch. Okay, we're going to tell you a story about a man named Jed. Poor old mountaineer. Barely kept his family fed.
Yeah.
That was the story on the street anyway.
Had a good-looking daughter named Ellie.
Yeah. Hook it up, tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Well, it's freezing. The first day of the season.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. You know, every week that big guy in there sits in his cage, pushes all the right buttons in order to make this show the household name that it's become.
Yep.
We wouldn't exist
No.
without his perfection, his persistence,
No.
his commitment to excellence.
You know, y'all going to talk him into asking for a raise.
When this read started, it was like 1 sentence long.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the
I'm not complaining.
dynamic performance, the abilities of Jay Watley that have brought us the fame and fortunes that we've seen over the last
Took
couple
us
of
to
years.
another level.
Hey, we're on knee right now. We just want to thank you, Jay, for making all of us and this show the incredible thing that it's become. Hey, this segment brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Bayou Outdoor Supercenter, Rayburn Country Resort, and Seagar Fishing Line, continuing to lead the way in the fishing industry with both innovation and quality. Seagar Fishing Line is the choice of winning anglers.
And before we get back to Mark real quick, Lake Fork Marina, for over 30 years, Lake Fork Marina has been a full-service resort. Great accommodations from full-size hotel rooms to cabins and a scenic RV park overlooking Lake Fork. Internet, guest laundry, and a great restaurant, Tiffany's. Tackle store with all the top name brands. Go to lakeforkmarina.com to learn more about the #1 resort on Lake Fork.
Leading FLW Pro in the Angler of the Year race right now, Mark Rose on the phone. And Mark, when we left you off, when you weren't bass fishing, you were fishing.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's what, you like to crappie fish, you like to deer hunt, but it perplexes me that you say you don't like to fun fish for bass anymore because you're scared that you will achieve that burnout.
Yeah, that's right. I purposely stay away from bass fishing. And it's not that I don't like to fun fish for bass anymore. That passion is still there. I still love catching bass. But I am strategically trying to stay off the water so when I do go to a tournament, that fire is burning, man. I'm ready to go. Like right now, I left Smith Lake and I've had 2 weeks off. Well, everybody I know that fishes for they go bass fishing. But a lot of them, some don't. I know Andy Morgan and I have a lot of the same views on this. But man, I want it to be so fresh and so exciting that right now I'm excited to go to Kentucky Lake, and I'll leave this Saturday. Practice starts Sunday, and but if I go fishing a few times between now and then. You know, it's just like, well, I won't be quite as fired up about it, you know, because I will have filled that urge that I have or that passion that I have or whatever. And so, anyway, that's the way I do it, and it works for me.
Well, barring injuries, what's the longest, let's say in the last 5 years, what's the longest that you've gone without bass fishing?
Well, last year I stopped. Let's see, the last tournament I fished, I think, was the Forest Wood Cup on Murray, I believe it was.
That was in August.
Until I left to go to Okeechobee this year, which was February.
Wow.
I had not made a cast.
Wow.
So that was from August to September.
That's 5 months.
You're not scared you'll forget everything?
No. You know, early on in your career, guys, that's not the recipe that I would recommend to guys early in their career.
Yeah.
But when you've been all over the country, and by no means do I think I have bass fishing figured out because, you know, I know that this is an evolving.
They're just like women.
Sport. But right. So it's just that when you've been there and done that and seen every weather scenario and muddy river, you know, just everything changing, different species, different regions, different everything. You know, it's bass fishing. So springtime, you tie on a bunch of shallow stuff and you go figure out where the spawn is and you figure them out. Ledge fishing, a little different. I like to spend more time doing that, but I've got 3 days on Kentucky Lake and a lot of history there. So again, it's not the perfect for everybody early on in your career, but when you get there, you've been there and you've done that, it helps keep that fire burning.
Well, it's kind of, and I'm not trying to make light of this, but it's for Mark Rose, it's not that Mark Rose knows everything. It's just Mark Rose figured out I'm probably not going to learn anymore.
Yeah.
So
well, he's got a lot of history built up.
Yeah. So So why
Yeah.
not take a break?
Yeah. Now, Mark.
Well, for me, being excited about it is part of practice. For me, spending time with my family and having my heart right and my mind right is almost as well as somebody that spends all their time out there fishing, but yet neglects some other things in life to be able to do that.
Right.
Then there's something, fishing is big mental. And whenever I'm in tune with the man that made all these fish, and I'm in tune with my family and all that guy, everything else, it just seems to help everything else on the water.
Truer words
That
never
works for
spoken. Because you cannot be out there on the water and be totally tuned into what the fish are doing if you're wondering about your crumbling marriage back at home, or you're wondering about your child who might be just hadn't gotten arrested the day before. You can't do what you have to do mentally. And even Eccles, who's the dumbest guy on our whole panel here,
I resemble that.
Eccles will tell you fishing is 95% mental.
Yeah.
That's the reason
That's
I
right.
suck at it.
Well, another thing too, Mark.
I totally agree with that, guys. And I'm not saying that I know what you meant, but I'm not referring to every fisherman's marriage as crumbling.
Right.
That wasn't what I. But it helps mine keep from it.
Amen.
Whenever I feel like I'm doing what needs, and when I leave to go to a tournament, and I know that things are good between me and my wife, and I have spent that quality time with her that I need for my marriage, and I have spent the time that I need with my girls, and I have spent the time that I need, with my Lord and Savior, spending time meditating and in church and doing those types of things. I know then that everything's good, and now it's time to focus on these fish, and I don't have a lot of distractions.
The bottom line is, Mark, you've got to know they're looking forward to you coming home, not happy that you're gone.
Well,
wow.
and
Good point.
he's missing Mother's Day, so he must be in good graces with the family.
Yeah, how'd you do
Well,
that?
we're having a big celebration Saturday afternoon before I leave.
There you go. Now, Mark, didn't FLW, they were the first ones, if I remember right, the day before the tournament started on a Thursday, they made all the anglers take off on Wednesday. Do they still do that?
They do, yeah.
I think it's
day,
great.
It's really good.
I do too. I think it's great.
Mark, what would you say in all your travels across the country? What would you say is Mark Rose's favorite place to fish?
Red River.
Probably
in January.
Probably anywhere in where?
Red River.
Red River in January.
No. That's not it. That's way down there.
Missed it by that much, didn't we?
It would probably be anywhere on the Tennessee River, anywhere from the second week of May through July.
Ooh. Oh, really? Huh. I wouldn't have thought that. Tennessee
I love
River.
offshore fishing.
I cut my teeth bass fishing down on Okotopa Creek, which is part of the 10 time on the Tennessee River.
Yeah, some Bigby waterway.
And dude, let me tell you what, he's not lying. I mean, when you're catching bass and there's mullet running right around there, because this is in L.A., Lower Alabama.
Right, right.
It was just crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of that whole Tennessee River is so fertile. And if I had to be specific in there, it would have Kentucky Lake, Pickwick. Those two are probably my absolute favorite of all of it.
Yeah.
And running a close second to the Tennessee River Lakes is, believe it or not, is the Great Lakes, and that's not anything I grew up doing or anything. It's just I love them because they don't get much pressure. They stay frozen. They have a season, and so those bass, when you get up there and everything's right and you hit it on the right stretch, they're like they've never seen a lure before, a lot of them. So that's a lot of fun.
It's almost like they quit fishing when they weren't being paid to do it. They went crappie fishing or they went deer hunting or something like that.
Right.
Mark,
he learned from them.
Mark, with all the young anglers coming, high school bass fishing's taking off, got the college series taking off, it's all big right now. What's the best advice that you would give or could give to the younger generation of anglers that are coming up?
probably the best advice I could give them would be spend as much time as you can on the water and to not focus on the media and sponsor side of fishing right out of the gate.
Right.
Yes.
It's very important in your career to focus on media and sponsors and all that stuff. And I'd strongly recommend them getting their degree and so they can be well at the business side of fishing. However, in the beginning, be as good a fisherman as you can be, because that's going to trump every guy that's a good businessman and all that. The guy that catches them is going to trump everybody, because he's the guy that people want to sponsor, and he's the guy that they want to be a representative, because he's the guy that knows how to catch them when the money's on the line and the TV's rolling. He can produce, because the bottom line is they're going to allow you to weigh in 5 fish. And the guy that is able to do that better than everybody else is the guy that's going to be good on the business side of it too.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think, though, that the most important thing for them? Don't you think the most important thing, though, is that they pick out the right logos for their silk screen shirt, and they make sure they get every boat manufacturer and lure company all put on their shit? Yeah, got to get them all on there.
Well, that's going to do good for all the YouTube channels, and that's going to do good for their ego, and they're going to be able to see themselves a lot and all. But the company that wants you to produce, which is what everybody wants, that ain't going to help you worth a hill of beans.
Yeah.
There's a difference in thinking you're a star and everybody else thinking you're a star.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
The guy that has to tell everybody he's good, and the guy that is good, there's a big difference.
Boy, I know a bunch of them. Mark Rose leading the FLW for Angler of the Year this season. I always ask somebody this, Mark, why are you where you're at this year? Is this did the lakes line up with the type of year where it fits your style of fishing? You looked at it, the calendar, and said, okay, I'm going to do good. Or is Mark Rose doing something this year different than you've been doing? Why are you where you're at?
Yeah, the horoscope, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say this gray hair is finally paying off.
It does. Amen.
No,
wisdom.
Hey, that's not it, Mark.
No, that's true. If you could see Mike.
I look like a 240-pound Q-tip, and it doesn't help me at all.
No, I just believe that the schedule is lined up and all that. Okay, but I'm one of these guys that I don't believe that you can just lay out the perfect schedule, because there's going to a lot of guys are going to struggle on their favorite lake sometime. But this year, just things have worked out, man. I think it's a combination of opportunity has met preparation, has met the Lord's blessings, have met a lot of things have just lined up to where I've worked hard all my career. I've been blessed this year, and I've been ready for the opportunity, and it's worked out, man. I don't know. I've lost some key fish, but I've also put some really key fish in the boat that sometimes I do lose. So it's just worked out this year.
We've had some guys on like Gerald Swindle, Iaconelli, and Mark. I don't know if your philosophy, if you think like this, but they both said, and some other guys as well have said, when it's your turn, it's your turn. Are you a believer in that?
I am. I don't like it said like that. I like it said when the Lord wants to bless you and give you your opportunity, if you've worked hard for it. He says in Matthew 6:33 that if we seek first the kingdom of God, then He'll take care of us.
Amen.
And pretty much, I have worked really hard on my relationship with Him and my fishing career. I have. I put a lot of work into it, and I just truly believe that in the Lord's timing, He'll honor what that hard work. And I'm not saying I'm going to finish this thing off and I'm going to be the Angler of the Year at all, because that's not what's going to make or break my career. I'm very content at where I'm at if I don't cash another check.
Mm-hmm.
But I just truly believe that if you do what He says, and which I've tried to do, then He'll take care of you at times.
Well, let me mention those blessings real quickly, because you have averaged Graf did all the math on this.
Yep.
And I'll bet you he was right. You have averaged $9,580 per event in your entire FLW career. What I want to know is, God love you, do we need to hold a fundraiser for you or something? How are you paying the bills?
Yeah, really.
God love you. I mean, you're just starving to death, trying to, take care of his wife and kids.
I wish I knew where all that was, to be honest with you. That's I didn't know that stat, and I'm thinking back now, where is all that? But, yeah, I just, man.
I'm betting you know where 10% of it is.
In my career, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of that has come in the last 10 years. Those averages, the last 10 years has made that average pretty much. But that was a lot of. I didn't know much at the beginning. I was an old river rat over here on the Mississippi River, and I didn't know anything about smallmouth and northern region and marsh country down south, and all this stuff. I didn't know ledge fishing, offshore fishing, spotted bass. I was a largemouth fisherman that loved to jump a beaver dam on the Mississippi River, get away from everybody, and go fish for some virgin fish. That was my deal. But after you get your brains beat in over 9 or 10 years, you that's where I was talking about some of that gray hairs kicking in. You just learn, and the last 10 years is where most of that has come from, and I'm very thankful for it. Humble.
Well, I can tell you, after looking at those financial stats, Mark, I'm 99% sure that I'm older than you, but I want you to know that I'm up for adoption. I don't mind moving in with
man.
Daddy.
You guys are a hoot, man.
Now, you being there and win, you wouldn't shoot a goose, would you?
Absolutely.
I was disappointed when you didn't have duck hunting down there. I was disappointed.
Yeah, you've got crappie fishing and deer hunting, but you don't mention the ducks or the geese around there. And you're in one of the best areas in the world.
Yeah, that was kind of during that off season that we weren't talking about fishing very much. I have a lot of hunting passions too. I love to sit in the sand and deer hunt, and I love the rabbit hunt, squirrel hunt, and frog gig, and I'm a redneck.
Do you ever get together with I know Larry Nixon
and Cochran up there?
Yeah, George Cochran. Y'all ever get together and you hunt with those guys?
I don't do a lot of hunting. I hunt in and around, and I see them when I'm hunting, but we hunt kind of different areas. They hunt that biomeat area a whole lot, and I'm more over on the cash and the white. And so we kind of hunt different areas, but, yeah, we talk about it. We see each other. We've eaten out at places in between hunts and all, but never actually really hunted with them.
Yeah,
I've got buddies that have different networks than they do.
That Bayou Mita is kind of like the Indianapolis 500, and they've opened it up for anybody who has ever shopped at Walmart. It's just crazy up there.
Yeah.
I have never seen. My oldest son told me, he was like, "Daddy, it's like a race." He said, 4 o'clock in the morning when they let you go at one of those public launches, he said, "Oh my God." He said, "It's crazy." He said, you'll see those shallow drive motors. He said, it looks like they've got them on the back of a dragster.
It's like those shotgun starts, huh?
Brother, I have in my life met very few people who mastered life as young as you are, who have mastered keeping the master up front, keeping family in their position, and then worrying about other stuff. And so for that, I want to congratulate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. My Lord and Savior is very important to me, and when I chose what I was going to do for a living, I wanted to do something where I could allow Him to be first, and where I could publicly and make that known and reach people and use whatever I'm doing to be able to reach people. And fishing's I've been truly blessed, and I thank FLW for allowing us this freedom and all, because it is a tournament trail that allows they support it pretty much, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, faith, family, fishing is kind of my motto. And that's my priorities, and it always will be.
You got a great platform, Mark. We appreciate you taking time to be with us today, buddy.
Well, thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
Mark Rose, he's leading the race right now, Angler of the Year with the FLW, and obviously somebody that we should all emulate. And you know what, kids, as he gave advice on what you should do early in your career, it's the same thing that we hear from every pro.
Yeah.
Every pro, including Mike Eccles, has said, master your craft.
Yep.
Catch a fish.
Time on the water.
Time on the water.
Dion Hibden.
Don't
Time
worry
on the water.
about the sponsors. They'll come along. We are hooking up and tracking down. Speaking of sponsors, we got to take care of some. 11:30, the Tiger.
We get to hunting, fishing, loving every day. That's the prayer that a country boy prays.
Want to hear what you missed from today's show? You got to tune in Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. here on 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down. This segment presented by Bob Seeley's Big Bass Splash Series, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, Natchitoches Ford, and Bass Cash Bash. Register for the Toledo Bend event going on now through Labor Day. Go to basscashbash.com and sign up today. And remember, don't be that guy. Now back to Steve Gary and the one and only Mike Eccles.
You know, we were wondering when summer was going to get here. We went from late
God.
winter to summer overnight, 90-degree
telling you.
temperatures, and with that comes the growing grass.
Yes.
Commercial Power Equipment, one of our great sponsors, owner Paul Sutherland. He said, get ready for your spring yard work. Spring's already passed, but that's the place for blowers, trimmers, mowers. They've got it all. Carrying the best line of market mower on the market today. That's X-Marks. If you don't believe it, look at all the yard business trailers going up and down the road. 90% of them is going to have an X-Mark on it. And if you want to buy one, they've got in-house finance. That's what I'd have to do.
Yep.
But go buy Commercial Power Equipment, see Paul Sutherland, or just go to mybigmower.com. I love that. My Big Mower.
I do too. I told Paul that.
I can't remember XYZWW.com,
MyBigMower,
whatever.
My Big Mower.
I can remember mybigmower.com.
Yep.
Every time.
Y'all know how long I have been friends with Ben Clemens, who's the general manager at Bayou Outdoors.
Okay, we'll send you flowers.
Yeah,
man.
no, wait a minute. Y'all know that, we've been buddies forever. And he knows. They're one of our biggest sponsors of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show.
I saw him this morning.
He knows where I'm at every Wednesday from
And he
11 to
calls
1.
you.
And he'll call me during the show.
Yeah, knowing.
I
forgot.
Turn the radio on at the store, Ben, and you'll know.
I know. I just left him this morning.
Okay. All right, we're talking about topwater fishing.
Yeah. Well, is that where we're at?
Well,
No.
we skipped.
The
we
12:30
skipped it.
What's your bass IQ?
No.
And the guys reveal their favorite topwater lures. Look at the time, boys.
Okay, and we're going to do it, but remember I told you I forgot the
Bass
IQ.
Okay.
I told you I forgot.
Okay.
So we're substituting.
Okay.
The Seagar Hot Topic
If you've been tuned in properly.
with the brim bedding up as we speak.
Yeah.
With you guys, what's the best baits to throw for bass when the brim on beds?
You know what? That's kind of funny because we did talk about that with Johnny Geis last week.
Yeah.
Johnny says that, there's always 3 or 4 pretty good bass that are living really close to those beds.
Oh, yeah.
That know, whenever they're ready to eat, it's that time. And that was one of the things that I was hoping to find on Bistineau, and probably spent too much time looking for it, was the brim beds, because the brim, the guys that I spoke to that were catching brim were catching them up in really, really, really shallow water. They weren't bedded up yet. Mm-hmm. They were really scattered. And so there wasn't confined beds. But as those beds come up, I honestly believe that you can stay, pretty close in that area.
Yeah.
Throw in something, a topwater bait that, that resembles a brim or a crankbait or, even a worm.
If you're throwing soft plastic, what would you throw?
Probably something like a brush hog, something like that.
Baby brush hog,
something along those lines in brim colors.
Right.
And I got to tell you,
swamp hog's really good.
And I honestly think that that you can catch some quality fish around. But I never smelled the first brim bed on Lake Bistineau.
Yeah, a little
Not
early,
one.
wasn't it? A little early.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would figure that the brim are bedded in areas, and somebody's probably going, "Well, what that, Gaber? I'm telling you, they got brim bedded all over here at Wilson's or whatever." I don't, I just didn't smell any.
Well, I was talking to Joey Hood this morning. We were talking about fishing frogs and stuff in the thickets on Bistineau. And he said what he normally does is he looks for the thickets where he can hear the brim
popping.
how they
Popping. Yeah.
hit the top of the water, and he said it's not happening.
It's not.
I mean, I could give a brim one of those air horn, and I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
But he can hear it, and he said they're going through these thickets looking for the thicket that's holding the fish, and it's by the brim, and they have not found them yet.
Yeah.
I think it's just because.
So maybe it was not just me.
No, it's not, and I don't know whether it's going to be because the water temperature is it's kept things down, and whether it's going to be just like a lot of the spawn, so gradual, that you're not going to see the big brim bed, maybe, or it's just here in the next few days with the water temperature getting up, it's going to just all of a sudden happen at once. I don't know.
Is there any certain color you guys zero in on, like June bug?
I like June bug, green
bug's
pumpkin.
a great color during the spring.
Yeah.
I think anything with green flake.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'm going to reach back I'm going to go back 40 years.
Oh,
Tequila Sunrise.
No. I'm just wait a second. This is my story. One of the guides at Bison's Landing, Sarge Tuggle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that old Air Force guy.
Yeah.
I went out in the boat with him one day, and of course this is when you fish wormholes.
Yeah.
And he told me, he says, when I pull up to a wormhole and I make a cast and I'm getting brim bites, he said, I won't stay here long. But if I pull up to that wormhole and I throw in there and I don't get brim pecks, I start knuckling down. His theory was, if the brim are in there running around, biting whatever you throw in there,
they're not scared.
That's right. The bass are not right there feeding on them.
Wow.
But if I throw in there and I don't get brim bit,
Yeah.
I think there's bass around. That's the reason those brim aren't biting my worm.
Wow.
I got another little story for you.
I thought that
that's
was a really
pretty neat,
good
yeah.
analogy.
My last tournament on Sam Rayburn, I had a co-angler in the back. And we started on this point, on a hay grass point with hydrilla mixed in. And the main point is where I caught a 6.5 there the week before. So I said, well, I'm going to start there and work my way around this point into some cypress trees. We're fishing there that morning. It's right before daylight, and we're chunking. I'm throwing a popping frog and this and that, spinner bait.
Do you like that bait, the popping frog?
Yeah, I like it. He said, we're not going to catch any fish here. And I said, well, what makes you say that? He said, look on top of the water. See all them little black bugs? He said, when they see them black bugs, they ain't no fish here. I'm just telling you, I ain't never caught fish around them black bugs.
Me neither.
And I never even thought about that. We didn't get a bite.
Water
there.
bugs.
When I got away from the black bugs, we started catching fish right around the corner.
There's got to be a reason for it, because I've never in my life seen a fish bite one of those water bugs.
I've never seen a fish hit a water bug.
But I never kind of put that together, and I thought, he's probably right.
Okay, now tell me this. You were talking about the popping thing. I'm talking about the popping perch. Have you thrown that yet?
I throw the Spro all the time. It's either popping frog for me or the rest.
Okay, we're segging into topwater baits.
Right.
Eccles, when was the last time you threw any kind of a topwater bait?
Yesterday.
Okay. Would you throw a frog?
No, I threw a Yellow Magic.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Got to be one of the best ever, huh?
Absolutely.
The Yellow Magic.
No doubt.
Where were you? What lake were you
on? Bistineau.
Did you catch a fish on it?
No, I got 0 bites.
But If they're on that bait, oh my God.
That
Yes,
that bait
absolutely.
at Lake Fork is unbelievable.
Sam Rayburn, I got my tail kicked out of the back of the boat. I didn't know nothing about a yellow magic. And I'm throwing a regular Pop R that's the same size as he's throwing, same color practically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting one fish, he's catching 5. And I was like, what are you throwing? I looked at it, and he said, this is that yellow magic.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you got to ask for these. They don't have these on the rack. You got to ask
Yeah.
for them. They keep them in the counter.
They're like
'Cause they're expensive.
$47,000 a piece.
I said, well, I'll have one of those on day 2. And I did. And I caught a limit. In 8 casts, I had a limit in the boat on day 2.
Wow.
With that freaking
Weighed
yellow magic.
9.26 pounds.
No, 7. But my favorite topwater bait is the spook, the smaller spook, the junior. I don't like the big one.
Oh, see, I love the big
I like
one.
the junior.
Junior or the pup? I mean, is that the same thing?
No.
I think there's 3 sizes.
Yeah, I think the pup's the little one. The junior's the middle one. I like the junior.
I like the big original.
And I love
I
a
do
spook.
too. I do too.
You know what though, and this is my personal favorite when it comes to topwater. And a lot of guys wouldn't qualify this as topwater, but that's what it is. To me, your summer arsenal is not complete if you don't have a buzz bait that you have confidence in.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good quality buzz bait, and I'm going to tell you, I know that there are a number of big, huge manufacturers out there that have got really good products. And some of those, I mean, you know, there's the one that you were talking about last week. The what's the new one that's the big sensation over on Lake Fork? I mean, on the,
Whopper.
no, on Sam Rayburn right now. The buzz bait that's the headbanger, something like that. Any rate, it's a big deal over on Rayburn right now. To me, you cannot beat the regular old plain lunker lure
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
buzz bait
Yep.
that was made that's always going to run to the right, you know,
Right.
or most of them.
One direction. Yeah.
But I think that honestly, when it comes right down to it, you know, and I'm fixing to give him a plug here. There's only one place you can get them at Mike Bacon's. Hal Culpepper's buzz bait is as good a buzz bait as was ever manufactured, and he'll make it for you whatever color you want, or you know whatever you
Hal
want.
makes
Like
a good
that.
spinnerbait,
And
too.
he makes an incredible buzz bait, and I just believe that you know that's a part of your summer arsenal.
Well, I don't feel like I'm qualified to hand out advice.
That's
on-
never
on-
stopped any of
Well,
us
I know,
before.
I know, but, you know, that's true.
Or Mike.
So, but I'm going to give some advice for people that are listening to this. There might be somebody out there that says, "Oh, I'm not a big topwater fisherman."
Right.
One thing: don't ever throw topwater on fluorocarbon.
Right.
Right.
Fluorocarbon sinks,
Mm-hmm.
and when it gets wet, it's got just enough weight that it's going to pull the nose of a topwater down.
Kills action.
It
You're right.
will.
Yeah.
The other thing is a lot of people think that they want to throw a topwater on too light a rod.
Mm-hmm.
If you're fishing a yellow magic, you're fishing what's the little end topwater Norman, anything chug bug or anything
Pop
like
R.
that. Pop R. That's
Yeah.
it. Pop R. Anything like that. You've got to have a stiff enough. Now, I'm not saying throw it on a heavy action,
Right.
But you need a little backbone on your rod to make it work.
Yeah.
If your rod loads up when
Mm-hmm.
you snap your wrist, especially trying to walk the dog with the Zara spook or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, if you've got too limber a tip on the rod,
It
you're
won't
not
work.
going to make the top water work the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Throw it on monofilament and have
Or braid.
at least
Yeah.
or braid.
Yeah.
And it at least a medium action rod, no less than medium action.
I'm going to tell you the best advice that anybody ever gave me when it came to topwater fishing, and a late friend of mine, Dan Wilhelm, and I would venture that at one time, Dan and I had caught as many fish on a buzzbait on Toledo Bend as any other human beings. At one time, we had caught that many fish. It was just stupid. We had them figured out, and it was reading grass and stuff like that. And the one thing that Dan told me that was a trick, because he never missed. If a fish hit a buzzbait, he never missed. Now, he was so efficient with a jig. Just seeing him throw a buzzbait was kind of weird. But he said, never watch your bait. Always look at the next place you're going to cast instead of looking at that. And that's been one of the things that I've tried to do over the last few years is always be watching the next place I'm going to cast and not looking back at my buzzbait.
Another bait I'm going to tell you guys about.
Yeah.
and you probably heard of it. I don't know if either one of y'all even own one, but I'm telling you right now, Red River and these Cypress Tree Lakes, it is deadly. Homer Humphrey's Sputter Ace.
Sputter Ace.
Yes, sir. It's a topwater prop bait. It's like a buzz bait with a solid body, about 2 inches long, and it's made out of wood. Dude, the two of the terms that I've won out of probably 5 in my life, 2 of them have come on Cypress Tree Lakes with the Sputter Ace.
Wow.
Yes, sir. It is a great bait, and very few people even know about it or even own one.
Huh.
But it's a great bait.
Where can you get that?
Homer.
Okay.
Call him.
Homer Humphreys. I
Now,
happen
he
to
used
have
to
that
make
phone
them out
number.
of balsa wood. Then he went to a different type of
Well,
composite.
they could possibly have them at Bayou Outdoors.
Bayou Outdoors may carry them. And because I'm just telling y'all, that's a great bait, especially around cypress trees.
All right, here in just a minute, we're going to wrap this thing up and go to the house. But we've got 15 more minutes of some incredible action for you. In fact, our last segment, why is the bass fishing usually so tough in May, and how you should adjust in order to have a decent day.
Yeah.
That's next. Hooking up, tracking down, 11:30, The Tiger.
The Hook It Up and Track It Down Show thanks you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Nichols Department Stores, Spro Lures, Gamakatsu Hooks, and the CCA of Louisiana, making sure our coast and waterways statewide are protected and preserved for years to come. One more time, here's Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff.
Okie dokie, it's our United Rentals question of the day today. Why is the bass fishing usually so tough in May?
First we got Daiwa Samurai.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Read your notes, Gary.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Here's your Daiwa Samurai. Great best times to fish. This Friday's rated as fair and very good for Saturday and Sunday as we continue into the postpone period. The moon will be on the decrease from 25 to 10% by Sunday night with little or no rain expected this weekend.
This thing lied last week.
Yeah, temperatures, well, it's because it's done so early. You know, the weather now the weather will stabilize. Temperatures will reach in the lower 90s each day with lows in the mid 60s, and I'm not ready for the 90s. Best times to be on the water is mid to late morning. Friday, 8:38 to 11:38 a.m. Sunrise 6:19, sunset 8:03. Saturday, 9:25 a.m. till 12:25 p.m. with sunrise at 6:18, sunset at 8:04, and Sunday, 10:14 a.m. to 1:14 p.m. Sunrise 6:17, sunset 8:05. This has been your Daiwa Samurai Braid. Best times to fish.
Okay, before we get to our United Rentals question of the day,
Okay.
We're losing a good man this weekend.
Okay.
My oldest son, Buddy's getting married Saturday.
Oh man.
And so, I just want
a prayer vigil.
That's what I need a lot of prayers. If you are convicted, and
we're
and
not
you feel
losing a good man. All the single women are losing a good man.
Yeah, there you go.
I just want to if you're as convicted as we are, I need your prayers. God love him. He's fixing to say I do this weekend, and
well, be glad. I'm just going and prepare. Well, I can't prepare you. He can probably relate to me. One of the hardest things you'll ever do is walk your daughter down the aisle to give her away.
I have no idea.
I can promise you. That's one of the hardest things I ever had to do.
I have no idea.
On me, brother.
Well, I
didn't give my daughter to anybody.
I walked mine down the aisle and they came back.
Okay, it is United Rentals question of the day today. Why is the bass fishing usually so tough in May? And how should you adjust in order to have a decent day? And I think that honestly depends on the lake that you're on.
Well, we need to answer the first part of that first. Why is it so tough in May? I think we all know the reason. Postpone. Postpone is always the toughest.
And it depends, though. I mean, it depends on how far in postpone, because those fish don't sell up for the entire summer.
Yeah, and a lot of times they should start feeding to fatten up.
Yes, and so it depends on where they are in postpone.
But it's like me and Mike talked about. He looked at tournament results, and you were telling me that your buddies caught a 13-pound stringer on Toledo. They didn't even go the weigh-in. Guess where they would have finished had they gone? Second.
Really?
Ken Barr fished a little tournament on the upper end of Toledo this weekend. I don't know who he fished with, but he had 13-something.
Yeah.
He won that tournament. And there was 40 or 50 teams in it.
Wow.
They went to watch a weigh-in after that to a second tournament that they didn't fish, and they would have been in second in that one.
Holy cow.
And he named off a lot of the guys, some really good hands that were fishing it, and that's the way it was.
And 13 pounds would have.
And they had the top 6 down there this weekend, and although it was a combined weight from all the teams, I don't know how they do it. They take the best 5 out of 30 or 40 guys fishing, something like that. Yeah. And it sounds real good when you say, well, we had 28 pounds, but that's taking one fish out of every boat. Yeah. But a lot of the guys fishing the top 6 said it was tough. This weekend on Lake Bistineau, I told you I did that survey. On the average in the Boss Tournament Trail, there was 4.4 fish caught per boat this weekend in the Boss Tournament.
And that wasn't just weighed; that was what was
caught.
Yeah, period.
So that means that although there was a number of teams that did come in with a 5 fish limit, there were a number of teams that fished all day long, 9 hours for 2 fish, 3 fish. And I think it all has to do with, yes, it is postponed, but it's because of water temperature this year. The postpone has been drug out longer, where our fish ought to be in 5 to 7, 8 foot of water.
Right,
a lot more of them.
Right,
there's only a few of them. And Ricky Lee talked about going to in practice for the Boss Tournament, going to a thicket and catching 1 fish out of it. The only bite he would get.
Wow.
Going back 2 weeks later, catching that 1 fish in that thicket.
Wow.
And that would be the only bite they'd have. And they would leave and go to another thicket where 7 days before he had 1 bite.
Wow.
So the fish are, I contend that we've eventually hurt Lake Bistineau by allowing so many people to break the law down there when the lake's drained, not allowing them to fish, but allowing them to break the law by catching multiple limits out of there.
So you still think that's hurt the lake?
I still think it's impossible for it not to have. I'll argue with the biologist sitting in the air condition, that it's impossible for after 13 or 14 years, whatever, for it not to have an effect on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
should the lake be off limits during that time? Or
I don't think that we can do that in this part of the country. I mean,
but it could be monitored closer.
Yes.
How? Do you know how many private launches there are on Lake Bistineau?
I understand, but when you got a body of water that's pulled down like that one is,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if everybody had their own launch ramp. You catch somebody catching 3 limits of bass a day and selling them, and you charge them about $10,000.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is the enforcement side of it all would be the toughest part of that whole
lake, in my opinion, should be your priority lake, though. If you're trying to monitor a lake that's been drawn down.
Well, good point.
Like that,
I'm more apt to break the law if I think that getting caught's only going to result in a slap in the hand than I am if I know I could lose my house and my truck and my boat.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, I think that one thing has happened, and we've actually said this on this show, and this has come from you as well, Mike, that the drawdowns have made the fishing better.
Have made the quality
of the fish better,
not the quantity.
Right, yeah.
I'm talking quantity.
And I agree that man, those fish that are in there are really good and healthy fish. I mean, we caught the week before the tournament. Pete and I were catching some really nice fish, 3.5, 4 pound fish that were beautiful.
Right,
I mean, really good shape.
Right.
No, nothing poor or anything along those lines. But I will say this, and I talked to a number of people tournament day that were just like that. Hey, we've had 1 bite, we've had 2 bites. We might have had 4 bites.
We are in post-spawn. That's the biggest thing. The other thing is, in my opinion, there's not as many fish in the lake. So as they're filtering out into the summer holes and stuff, instead of waves of them going out there, they're going out there
one at a time.
Well, somebody's asked me too, not too long ago. Up in that, we had lunch with some guys that fish a lot. They said, well, we've got talking about this. Why has Bistineau been affected versus Black Lake hadn't been affected that much? Well, Black Lake has a limited drawdown level. They can only go 4 feet with Black Lake. And I think that helps the lake in terms of not fishing it out.
But you know what? Black Lake has been so covered with Salvinia. And so has Bistineau for that point. But the drawdown has given access to guys on Bistineau that they haven't had on Black Lake, and it's been so covered in Salvinia that I'm going to tell you that this year, I honestly believe that in the spring of this year when we had the Boss tournament there earlier in February, I think it was probably the first time some of those fish have seen a bait in months.
Yeah.
And the fishing wasn't bad at all.
One biologist told me, he said, the problem you're fixing to run into, he said, well, it hadn't happened yet. He said, but it's going to happen. With the Salvinia disappearing in all the cold months, and all of a sudden it's just gone. Everybody's like, man, where did it all go? It's all gone.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom.
It went to the bottom.
Yeah.
He said, that's not a good thing because that decaying, rotting at the bottom limits the spawning capability of the bass. He said you may have some bad spawns for 2 or 3 years if the Salvinia continues to be a problem and settles to the bottom with these cold.
And I'll tell you what else has happened on Bistineau. Eyewitness, don't sit in your office and tell me it's not happening. We're pissing off our money again. Thank you, the state of Louisiana, paying somebody to spray. They are on Bistineau spraying right now. You know what they're spraying? The dead cuckaburr grass. They're going through the areas where there's no Salvinia and spraying the dead cuckaburr that grew up while the lake was down, that is dead, wasting it.
Really?
Total 100. I watched them yesterday. Billy Phipps watched them down at Hog Island. Don't tell me they're not doing it.
Wow.
They came into Plum Orchard yesterday and spent an hour in there. I sat there and watched them spray nothing except dead sticks.
Wow.
And there was no don't tell me they're spraying Salvinia. They're not doing it. They're out there just, we're getting paid to spray X amount of gallons of poison a day.
Yeah.
And we're going to spray it. If we're spraying it up in your yard, killing your, we don't care.
Wow.
Lord. The biggest waste of that money and that it's herbicide, whatever it is, right now going on, unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Okay, do you have a Thursday night tournament this week, or is it next week?
No, we've got one next week. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday.
How's fishing been on Cross Lake this year?
We had our let's see, what was it? This week or last week? We had our biggest string of 13 pounds. I mean, I think it was this last tournament, 13 pounds.
And that's 3 fish.
Yeah, 3 fish. And where it's been running 10 and a half. Maybe 11. It was 13-something the last tournament.
Will you generally, over the course of the circuit, which goes into July?
Well, no, we finish up the last Thursday in June, and we have the championship the end of September.
Okay, will you generally have one fish at least over the course of the year that comes close to 10 pounds? Will you have a 9-pounder or better every year?
Most of the time we do, and then, of course, the team that wins the biggest fish, has the biggest fish for the year in Cash Splash, gets a set of recliners from Ivan Smith Furniture.
Wow.
That's cool.
Been doing that for 3 or 4 years. Thank you, Jonathan Smith. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, take us to the house there, Mr. Graff.
Here's this week's final word. When it comes to teaching people how to hunt or fish, We, the teacher, tend to lose patience, especially when it comes to the people we are closest to, family. For some reason, we get frustrated at the learning curve of the ones we love the most, and I'm not really sure why. I guess it's because we expect them to pick things up quicker, since in most cases, they're a part of our own DNA. But this can also be a part of the problem as well, as we, the teacher, parent, or spouse, are not totally sure what we're doing either. So before you jump on the student, you might want to look at the teacher first. For Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wiley, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week here on 1130 The Tiger for more hooking up and tracking down.